HarperCollins presents Our Little Secret by Darren O'Sullivan. Read by Darren O'Sullivan. Chapter 1. 5th of May 2016. The first final day. 10:39 p.m. March train station, Cambridgeshire. 8 minutes. Chris looked up at the dial of the train station clock, its ticking unperturbed by what was about to happen. It read 10:39. He stood and watched the seconds pass by slowly. 8 minutes, that was all he had to wait. Looking around the station, he noted how dilapidated it was. The benches that were once sky blue were now covered with an assortment of profanities, as were the walls behind them. Pictures of male genitals and insults to people's mothers were lit by a dull orange light in the roof of the old station and the flickering of a half-empty vending machine. The old Chris might have had an opinion about it. Not now. Not anymore. Instead, reading the walls and the bench just made him feel more tired, more ready. The station was the kind of place that still had damp autumnal leaves even in the middle of summer, the kind of place the wind always fiercely travelled. He listened as it howled and moaned its way through the entrance and past him, stirring bottles of beer and empty crisp packets that had overflowed from the bins. Letting out a sigh, he could see his breath hitting the air like cigarette smoke. Although it was May, the weather was unseasonably cold, barely 6 degrees. He hadn't noticed how cold until now. He hadn't noticed much lately, besides time. It was his only constant. Chris observed in the same way a person might observe through a window that his shirt was wet. It was raining and, now more aware of his surroundings, he realized the wind was giving him a chill. He had been painfully passing the time walking through the quiet streets of March, a small fenland town north of Cambridge, for an hour before arriving here. A town that was tired and had been left behind, full of charity shops and bargain outlets that displayed items for £1 or less. The shop signs that hung above paint-stripped doors were crude and cheap, almost shouting their names at him as he passed by. He noticed those inconsequential things, but not the fact that it was cold and he was wet. He briefly wondered why before shaking off the thought. He had to keep his focus now more than ever. He looked again at the clock. It still read 10:39. And he still had 8 minutes. Just 8 small minutes. Then he would be dead. Chris had chosen a location perfectly. At this time of night there were no passenger trains, the next one not for 30 minutes after the one that he longed for. He had done his homework. In the months before, there had never been another person on the platform at that time on a Thursday night. Research that began after his grief and shock had turned into numbness. As soon as he made the decision to end his life, he knew it could only be in one place, the one place that changed everything. It was on this platform Chris had known he was in love. The first time he stood in this spot since, he had to fight the urge to do it then and there. But it was the middle of the afternoon, and there were several people waiting to travel. Each and every one of them would see him die. Something he couldn't live with. He knew it would have to be at night. Every Thursday he went back to the platform to find the opportune moment. Then one night, a little later than his usual visits, a distant rumbling came over the track, and Chris knew this train was different. As it passed, he counted the carriages. There were 42. He counted them each week. Sometimes there were more, sometimes less, but they were always in their dozens and always at the same time. 10:47. He had found a solution. Researching the company, London Concrete, Chris knew it would be passing through on the date he needed. It wasn't perfect, but close enough. He knew the train driver would be affected by his death. He hoped that the support would be in place to help him come to terms with it. After all, Chris wasn't the first person to step under a train. To minimize the trauma he would cause to the driver, he had to time it perfectly. Yes, the driver would know a man killed himself, but he had a way to ensure he didn't see it happen. His memory tried to take him back to the night his beautiful wife Julia passed away.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?